Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. So while we are waiting others to join us, please take note in the chat, write down your full name so I can take the attendance. Hi, thank you. We will continue learning about hooks. Today we will focus on React, how it talks to the outside world, how we handle user events, and how components communicate with each other. So, a quick warm up. Let's let's think about sign up for on any website. When a user clicks on the submit button, what should happen? Not just what we see on the screen, think about what happens behind the scenes. For example, we refresh the page. Do we collect the data? Do we validate the input? Mm, you can type any idea in the chat. Try to list as many as steps as we can. Or feel free to hang on and yes, the form, a notification, yes, the submit button. Maybe we prevent that the page reloads as a default form will make the submit make the page reloads. Clear the form, focus the input. All these are valid. Yes, we need to store the input somewhere. Thank you for coming. So write down your names so I can get the attendances as you join us. Now let's talk about the new hook useEffect. As useEffect runs after the user interface renders by React. We use it to handle things outside the component. These are called side effects, things that React doesn't care about or doesn't, it isn't in charge. So, for example, updating the page title. The page title is a window browser, so the browser is in charge of it. So handling this is outside of the scope of React. If we need to update it or make changes on it, we call it side effects, fetching data from an API in outside in other server. So fetching it, having it is a side effect. Think of user effect like this. After the user interface is ready, we run this code. So here we import user effect as usual. We do as we use it to do. Our use effect takes a function and dependency array. Okay, here our logic. We write our logic, what we need to do with our side effect, and the dependency array, we will talk about it soon. So the most important part of the use effect is the dependency array. It controls when the effect runs. If the array is empty, the effect runs only once. This is useful for loading data from an API when the component starts. If we include a value in this dependency array, like to do, the effect runs every time that value changes. If we don't include the array, the effect runs after every render. So while we have any changes, the user interface re-render, it will rerun the code that we have in that function. As a quick question, if we want to fetch data only on the page loads, which of the option we use? I already answered it. Yes, the empty array. We only want to fetch data only once on the mount. So we have not any need to refetch after every render. We will come for this specific data fetching in lesson 7. So useRef. Yes, Lee, you have any question?
Yeah, can you go back to the previous slide?
Okay.
So after every render, I remember, I think it was probably an exercise where there was a use effect and there was like something going up constantly,
Mm-hmm.
like more than it was like I think it was supposed to be a counter that was supposed to go up 1 second at a time, and it
Yes.
was going up like much faster than that, and it was because it didn't have the dependency parameter.
Mm-hmm.
So was it? Does that mean that React was rendering it multiple times per second?
Well,
And
yeah, the question is React do render multiple times or not?
does it like if there was no dependency array,
Yes.
um, why was it? It must have been a
Okay.
state variable then, which is what triggers it to run,
Yes.
to render. Oh, okay.
Uh, I will clarify the whole picture for you. React will rerun and re-render the user interface based on state changes or properties, props. These mainly only things that make React re-render the user interface. And React is in charge of all the component in React application. useEffect handles things outside the scope of React. So when we omit and do not include the dependency arrays in the use effect, basically we tell React, please run the code in use effect every time you re-render. This doesn't have anything about what is included in the function, what we have. Like when our use effects here. Here, our use effect. You see, this is our function. Yeah. Our use effect, we call a function, an anonymous function with our curly braces. The logic here between the curly braces, React doesn't care about it. Okay, React only take care about the dependencies. If we do not include any array, it will rerun the logic every time the user interface re-renders. So the second part of the picture, which is the count, and you have twice, and the count is doubled. It is because the strict mode. So here we have another parameter. We tell React we are working on a development environment. So please do a double check. The strict mode it targets side effects. So what strict mode do exactly? The user interface will be mounted first place, like the first time, and it forces React to unmount and remount again. So here our use effects, when we will talk more deeply about use effect, we can do some cleanups. So if we didn't do cleanups and every function which is running in the background and we do not do it the right way, bugs will appear. And the example in the exercises will reveal this bug, because when strict mode enforce the mounting and cleanup, which when we omit, we didn't do the cleanups. So the interval, the set interval will be running in the background. So we didn't do the cleanup, and the strict mode tells React to remount again. We have already a set interval which is already in the background. So we add another use effect and we add another process to our set interval, and that's it. We have this bug of multiple set intervals and twice or n times, 2n times. That makes sense. Do I over explain that?
I may be mixing up. Uh, this was
So
2 weeks ago. I may be mixing up but no, I get the strict mode. That part I figured out.
okay,
Um,
okay.
but okay, yeah. So
For
it doesn't.
yes,
It only executes based on what React cares about. Uh, if there is something in there, or it
yeah.
renders.
So React will re-render based on state and props. This will trigger a user interface re-render. And when we have use effect, React will rerun, and whenever we have changes in the dependency array, we rerun the use effect. But use effect didn't trigger the re-renders for the React. You see?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a dependency. What we React will watch them or empty array. That means it will just mount once the first render, and when we'll omit this third this third one, we rarely use it. Basically, we will often use an empty array because we call use effect for something outside our React. So basically we will have for an API calls for 19% for that. Uh, so whenever we need to use any logic, we will be handling use states, context. Use effect is basically for things that React out for uh, the scope out of the React. So this leads us to talk about useRef. So useRef will store the value that stays the same between renders. Unlike if state, changing the state will force React to re-render. User reference or useRef will cause no re-renders. This helps us to work with the DOM element. For example, we can focus an input field automatically after a user submit a form. Here, as a reminder, we import the user from React. We declare our constant, our reference. We pick meaningful naming. Here we will target the input, so we write it an input ref. Usually, it is recommended in React we assign the references with a null value. Okay, and the we attach our reference with the ref key, ref, input ref. And in this line, React will assign the input ref with the input. So it will be referenced. Just when we call input ref, we will have a direct link with the input and we can focus on it. The dot current, it is because the input ref is an object and has a parameter current. So the value of this parameter, we will work on the parameter current. If we console log the input ref, it will return a current, an object with current and a value key. So useRef is for DOM manipulation. It will not re-render the user interface and keep the value between renders. So we can hold data, we can store it in that value. Whenever references we declare, it keeps its data as much as React re-renders. Well, now let's talk about events. React use something called synthetic events. They work like a normal browser event, but they are consistent across all browsers. And this is the key. So React is universal in mobile, in desktop browser, whenever React behaves the same. So here are three important methods. Prevent default, which stops default behavior like page refresh, or stop propagation method, which stops the event from bubbling up, and the target event.target, tells us which element triggered the event. We will see it in our hands-on. One important rule, always pass a function reference. In the onClick, we reference the function and not we invoke it. Just we make a reference. When we write the parentheses, here we are calling it and we'll execute immediately when our interface loads. This behavior, it is not what we need. We need to call it, and only when the user click on it, the function will be called and executed. Otherwise, when we call it immediately, it will be executed nevertheless the user clicks on the button or not. Yes, Lee, sorry, I didn't notice you have any
That's
question? Yes?
yeah. So I guess that if there is a synthetic event, React under the hood will always pass the event to the handler. Even though like uh, in that pseudocode, you just call handle click and don't pass any additional parameter into it.
Sorry, can you explain more? I didn't get the idea.
So here,
Yes.
we're not passing in any parameter to handle click, but up
Oh,
here, there is an event. Is that React always uh, inserting it or passing it in under the hood?
yes, I see. The on click, this on click, it trigger an event. Every action in the browser on click, we do an action. We click it a button. We scroll down. So every user interaction has an event. So passing this event, we just use it. It exists. If we didn't pass it, we will not use it in our logic, you see? But because it is there, we just pass it as a parameter so we can use these methods and we can show and interact with the DOM. So this one doesn't have any direct relation with the event, which is triggered by the user interactions. In our on-click, we have a button. We assign it an on-click parameter, which we will pass a function. So this function, we have to just call it. We have to reference it and not call it. We reference the function, so it will be triggered only when the user click on. If we call it using these function parentheses, we are passing it, and when JavaScript execute, it will execute it immediately. So the event here, the event parameter here, is about a user interaction that we are catching it. We are listening to the browser. We have event. We can call it event or E, and we append any method that we have. So React have a synthetic event. We have synthetic event because the browser has built-in events. The mobile have different events that it uses. Chrome is not Firefox. So React unifies all this when we use on-click, on mouse over, on every browser event, we can use synthetic methods. So
Um, No, my question was more, does the event object get passed to the handler automatically? Because the definition, the
Okay.
function definition has the event as a parameter.
Mhm.
Does React somewhere under the hood just pass it in whenever the event actually happens?
Yes,
It,
yes, yes, absolutely.
okay, thank you.
Okay, we are welcome. Sorry, I didn't get the question. It is obvious because here our function uses the event and React under the hood, it will passes this event to the function whenever the event is triggered. Okay. Now we need to have a look to how component communicate. In React, data flows down from the parent to the child, so a child cannot directly change parent state. Instead, the parent gives the child the function as properties. Um, the child calls that function when something happens. So it's like a callback function. Here we have our parent app.jsx and our to-do form, which is this child, a child in the app. The parent passes the on add to-do and passes the add to-do function, which is declared in the parent, and we have all the logic in the parent. So the parent holds the logic here. The children doesn't know what a to do has or do. Uh, it has only passed through it. So the children gets an on a to do, and it has a function with handle subject event. It will only go through and prevent the default. Do the logic here. We target the element to do title value, and it will returns up to the and the parent will take care of the rest. So let's look at the full flow. The parent component owns the state. It passes a function down to the child, and the user interacts with the child, like clicking on the button. Okay, so the child calls the function, the parent updates the state, and then React will re-render the user interface. I have to clean up my drawing. So the app holds the state of the to-do list and will update it whenever the user interact with the child. It calls the add to do title, update the to do state, and the parent will have the ultimate source of truth. So let's work on this together. I will end this so we can see our to-do list. Um, I think in the assignment we have to use state. We assign an empty array, and here we will declare our new function add to do. So our add to do will have a parameter of to do title. And we will store a new to do in a new variable, which is an object with an ID which needs to be unique. In the assignment, we use date.now. It's okay to use it for now. And the title, we will use the parameter to do title. And we will update our states. So we call the set to do list, and we use the previous state. So it will get the new to do, and we assign the previous. Here, basically, I'm writing new to do first and not the array. It is because we need the new element to be shown in the top of the list, and the previous element will be down the list. So what we have, our function, we will pass it as a prop. So on add to do, we will pass the add to do. Okay. Now our app.js has the add to do function, and it will pass it to our to do form. So we can handle the form and see what we have here. I think my server is running. Not yet. Voila. So my to-do form, and I have an empty to-do list and a to-do form with a button, submit a button, which is disabled. So here we have some note taking. We will use ref, so we will import from React useRef. So we will target our input. So we will declare our variable. Let's call it input ref as example, and we will use useRef, and it is common to assign it to a null variable. And here in the input, we will use the ref and input ref. I made a typo. Voila, input ref. We are referencing to the input, so here we have an input ref. Well, the second thing, we will need to handle the add to do, and we take over the form default. So I will handle add to do. it is a function. And here we will need to pass event object, so we can prevent event default behavior. Prevent default. So when in our submit button is active, I delete the disable, and on click, I will pass the handle add to do. So basically, when the user will click on the submit button, we will prevent the default behavior of the form. So we can see our test, it doesn't reload. Here, the event object is very crucial, and I will invite you to console log this event, so we can talk more in depth, and you can grasp this when I click test, add to do. Basically, what we have here, we have an object, an event object. You can see we have our on click and handle to do is attached on the submit button. And wherever we attach it in the form, we have event parameters here. We can see all parameters we have here for the event object. So we have an event parameter, which is target. Our target is the button, and the target button has some parameters. The useful is the form, and when we open this parameter, we can see even more in depth the form, the whole form, the input and the button, and other things. I can console.log our event dot current target. So when I trigger, let's refresh. So this is our test. I click the button, and when I click it, React will pass the event, and then I have the event object. The event dot current target shows me that my function, my handler is attached to the submit button. However, this is not the way we work with forms. We usually attach our handler on the form, on submit, and not on click, because when we on submit and we pass our handler add to do, let's get rid of this and let's check the differences between these. And so here I have my function was on the button, and now it is on the submit. So when I click add to do, we have the event.current target, which is the full form. So we have all the data, all the information of the form. We can get it and play with it. So we have different values for the event. So it changes a lot, and it is more handy because the target now is the form and not the button. The target was the button. So basically, when I have my function on the submit, I can directly manipulate the form. So I can store my to-do title, to-do my to-do title in event dot target, and the input which has an ID of to-do title. As you can see here, our target, which is the form, our first element is the input with an ID to-do title. So I can get it. I can target this by just typing target.to-do title, to-do title, because this is the ID and I want the value of it. And we can use the method trim, so it removes the white spaces. So we can console log this to-do title to see if we successfully have, let's say, hello at to-do, and we are targeting the value of our input. In other hand, let's return back, and if we attach our on click in the submit button, our handle to do here, this, I don't think it will work. Can you figure out how we get the input value while we are listening on the button? Here I have the history. So this is my target. Anyone have an idea? If I attach my handle to do function, the event here will change. Basically, if I refresh, I have nothing here. So I say hi. I have an uncaught error because I'm trying to read a value which doesn't exist. Basically, I have to target. Yes, using useRef is good, but it isn't the case because we have the whole event object here, and we can just go to the form. Here, as I show you before, if here I add hi, so if I console log our console.log our event.target, we are targeting the button. So basically, the button has the event, and it isn't handy to work with. So if we want the value from the input, we have to check our event Here is the event and check the target, which is the button, and check if we have any access to the form. So we have an access to the form, and the form can give us the input and the button and other properties. So we need to add this dot form to get the to-do title value of the input. The reference of the input, we use so we have the input ref dot current dot focus. Here we have the method focus for our input. This will have, when we have any doubts or any issues, I highly recommend you to console log and debug. Debugging is the way we learn. So here it is recommended to have an on submit, not on click. Not we do not recommend that we target the button, but rather than the whole form. So the on submit handle to do, and here the to do title. Let's see. Let's console log the to do title. And as I said, let's see our input ref console log, our input ref, what it has in it. So if first here add to do, the value is first. Oh, I missed. So let's say write code. So I have write code. Our input ref is our references. Our reference is attached to the input with an ID to do title. We declare it. We declare it to do title. We have input and an ID to do title. So this reference we will have an object with current. That's why it is don't forget to use input ref dot current and the focus method. So every time we add the to do, we have this focus. Any question? Does it make sense? Good. So the console errors are basically our friends. They told us a lot, and console log a lot. I used to console log everything I have a question and I need to know more about, because the console tells us what the reference, what methods I can use, and the DOM object. We can navigate with dot notation uh, the whole DOM, and we have access for the whole DOM, whatever we are using. So thank you for coming. Please, if anyone didn't write down his name for the attendance, make sure you write the whole name so I can get your attendance.